Hello and welcome to Overtime Hockey Talk. My name is Mark Paul. My co-host is Justin Baker. As per the usual, over the last 300 and I don't know, how many episodes are we in now? 320, something like that, maybe?
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I mean, we're almost to where 322, I think, was our last. So we're at 323. Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty crazy. 323 episodes, and I think what is this? Season 5 or 6?
I think it's 6.
Yeah, season 6. It is. It was funny to like sometimes go back and look at some of the episode titles just from like our first season. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, we're talking about totally like things that have changed completely. Almost, the vast majority of the league. What's the average amount of time that a player's in the league? Like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So it's like over that time, the vast majority of the league has completely changed. That blows my mind to think about.
I love it.
On today's show, we are, it's Christmas time. It's the holidays, whatever thing it is that you celebrate, however it is that you give gifts to people that you like. We're going to give gifts, or we're going to create a wish list for each team. And by a wish list, I mean one wish for each team. What are these teams praying to Santa for? I don't know. Who prays to Santa? Does anybody pray to Santa?
Pray to Gary Bettman is what
there we go. There we go. We're praying to Gary. One wish per team. Both Justin and I have come up with wishes of our own. Some of them look very similar. Some of them are basically exactly the same. I think in this list, you filled out yours first, and so I was going through, and there was one time I saw one, I was like, even before I got to that team, I knew what I was going to put, and then I looked, you had the same thing, and I just put ding ding on my side of the chart. So we'll have a few that are exactly the same, but for the most part, I think we managed to find some different wishes. So with that said, we're just going to kind of go in the order of the standings for each division. And with that said, we are going to start in the Atlantic division. I feel like we always end with the Atlantic. So we're going to start with the Atlantic this time. And as has been the case for the last 3, 4, maybe 5 years, the Boston Bruins are first place in the Atlantic right now. So we'll start with them. And Justin, the wish list. What's your wish for the Boston Bruins right now?
Boy, I'm sure many Bruins fans are going to say this, but just a true number one center, right? I mean, since the departure of Bergeron and Krejci, they've kind of lacked a true number one, and they've been rotating, Zaka, Geekie, and Coyle in and out, and they had what's his face from the 18-year-old kid, Poistra, right? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yep.
Gosh, yeah, it's been a hot minute, but that's pretty much what I think the Boston Bruins need. Okay. They need to find themselves a true number one.
Yeah, mine was in the same ilk, but I just said that they'd like Bergeron to unretire. I don't know what the chances are, but I feel like at some point it's gonna be out there. At some point, someone out there is gonna go, well, you could just bring Bergeron back, and you could bring him back in February. He barely has to play the season. He can just come in, you pay him $1 million, he gets to go on the playoff run and see what happens. Can't be worse than last year.
Can't be worse. Right? And hey, if Jágr still has it at 45 or 55, what does he get? So I think Bergeron can still figure it out.
I thought you were going to say Jágr can come in too.
Oh,
Bergeron, Jágr, Krejci. We're just going to, you guys can all just come back. It'll be fine.
Yeah, Jágr, he just started his, 52, I think he is.
Yeah, I think that
started the season.
I think he actually is about to beat the amount of professional hockey seasons played by a person. I think he's about to beat Gordie Howe's record.
Yeah, and what's funny is they can't put him in the Hall of Fame until he actually retired from that one either. So,
which is great. Ridiculous. It's very funny because Jágr might actually be dead by the time he gets into the Hall because he's going to be playing until he's dead. He basically has said, I'd love to retire, but if I retire, then my local team will probably cease to exist. He's literally just playing. I mean, I'm sure he loves it, but he said he's playing just to keep his team alive. Keep it from going bankrupt, or keep people in the seats, I guess. All right. Well, that's the Boston Bruins. I think we can all agree the Bruins need a center. On to the Toronto Maple Leafs. What do you have for the Leafs?
I've got they need some cap space here.
Well, didn't they get their wish when Klingberg was put on the LTIR and he's out, he's gone, bye-bye?
Yeah, and I think that's probably going to help them in the long term, but right now they've got 1.6. Yeah, his contract, 4.1, but right now they're currently sitting at 1.6 million at deadline cap space, and according to Cap Friendly, and who knows where that's going to go. I'm not a capologist. I don't pretend to be one, but I feel like, with Bertuzzi not really performing where he needs to be, they've had guys coming in and out on the defense as far as injuries are concerned, all season long. So it'd be great if they could have some cap space to maybe add maybe a second pairing defenseman or middle six forward at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a pair of defensemen as my wish.
Pair?
Yeah, I really think that it'll be they're going to go after two different defensemen. I think Chris Tanev is a given.
I love it.
I think it's likely, like he's their number one target. He has to be, given the tree living and the and the location. I think that he's, and the fact that he plays on the right side, I think that's number one. I don't think that the other defenseman that they would grab would be significantly, he'll be like a 6'7" defenseman, but I think they will add another defenseman. Although with Lagesson and Benoit playing so well, with all these injuries, I think maybe there's a chance that they go, we don't actually need to do that anymore. We'll just spend some of our assets on bringing in another forward, which they certainly, I think they also need to do. Although in regards to Bertuzzi, he has been much better in the last, say, 5-10 games. He's starting to find his spot. And Max Domi now playing center with Calle Jarnkrok. They look pretty good together too. So, hey, we're only 30 games into the season, right? Like, it does take some time to kind of crack into this lineup, especially since most of the lineup is set from the top end, and then you have to figure out where you fit. Nobody's building anything around you. You gotta like, and it seemed like they were maybe trying to, do the whole square peg into the round hole deal with Bertuzzi, and he's now just kind of figuring out where he belongs in this team. So I think that's a big deal, but we'll leave it at that. Let's go to the Florida Panthers. Yeah, go ahead. Your wish for the Panthers.
My wish, and it's been a wish for probably the last year or two for Florida, is to get a little bit more from Sam Bennett. At $4.4 million. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a a couple years ago when we were looking at Jeff Skinner's contract. Nothing like that as far as
you mean right now. Even right now, Jeff Skinner's contract.
Right.
Well, he's
a little
hurt.
But to me, Sam Bennett's the one guy in Florida I've always looked at and just wanted more. I want more out of him. I always expect him to, I've always thought he could be a 60 to 80 point guy, and it just has never materialized, and maybe it never will. But for me, I think centering that second line with Matthew Tkachuk, he has to prove himself this year, because he's coming up on a potential new deal next year at some point. So if it's the time to do it, it's right now.
I think he's a 40-point guy, and that's that. He's a 40-point guy, maybe a 50-point guy. Like last year, I think you'd say, last year 40 points in 63 games. He was a 50-point guy. I think he's a 20-goal scorer. There's that. I mean, he only has 4 goals so far this year in 19 games, but I think he is a 20-goal scorer. I think he, on the other side, I think he does other things really well.
Sure.
Winning faceoffs, not one of them, but I think that he does other things well, and he just doesn't really shoot the puck enough to me. Like 241 shots in 21-22. That is by far the most shots he has ever taken in his career. Last year he took 193, so I guess decently close, but this year only 40 in 19 games. So that's like 100. You're on pace for 160 shots in a year, which has kind of been his MO even earlier in his career was like far less than that even. So I'd like to see him shoot the puck more, but I think that's probably the only way he's picking up points, by shooting the puck. Mine's similar, but Brandon Montour needs to return to form. He was hurt. We all understand that. He's kind of coming back from a pretty major injury, and he just has not found his rhythm yet from an offensive standpoint. So that's once he gets rolling, again, he had 73 points in 80 games last year. He's at 4 points in 15. He's got 1 goal. He had 16 last year, 11 the year before. Once he gets going, I think that the Panthers, they already look pretty dangerous, and they had tons of injuries. And imagine, he gets going again, and they're going to look pretty good. I think they're probably the only team in the Eastern Conference that actually scares me as a Leafs fan. In terms of a team that, gosh, I don't want to play the Panthers.
Yeah, I don't
want to play them again. But I'd play the Bruins. I'm really not that worried about the Bruins. I'd play the Lightning, not worried about them. I'd play the Rangers or the Flyers or the Islanders. Give me any of those teams. But I don't really want the Panthers. And that's probably who they'll end up playing, so it'll be great. Let's go to the Detroit Red Wings.
I think Red Wing fans have all wanted this for a few years, but now's the first year I think I can legitimately say this is a good wish to have, and it's a playoff appearance. Okay. So, yeah.
I think every team wishes to be in the playoffs, but...
Yes, but this is where you can actually look at the team and say, okay, they're a legitimate team to potentially make the playoffs, right? So much like I think we all thought about the Buffalo Sabres and Ottawa Senators, and it's funny because everybody, when you looked at Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, right, the teams that were improving, everybody picked Detroit last as the one team that would probably not make the playoffs. And, right. And what do you know? They're
kind of a couple years behind in development with those other two, and they're blowing them out of the water. It's not even close. Not even close. I, for your sake, hope that they get into the playoffs as well. Actually, it's more fun when the Wings are in the playoffs. But I don't want them to waste a first-round pick just to get into the playoffs. Don't go wasting those high picks to grab somebody who is going to be there for 3 months. I don't think Yzerman would, but that would be my cross my fingers. Don't do this. Let's go with Tampa Bay Lightning. I'll go first this time. I just said a time machine to 2020 because I think that's the only thing that's really gonna help. I think that they finally look like this is that year. That I remember the Red Wings. We had this when are they going to be bad? Not bad, but when are they going to take that step backwards? And the Wings, it took them. It wasn't until 2012 that you went, well, they've taken that step backwards. Now they're just the playoff team, and they're really in no danger of contending for a Stanley Cup. I would say we're there with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I could eat those words come April, but that's what it feels like.
You could, but I don't think you will. You mentioned it when you were talking about Florida, right? You don't want to have to have to face Florida, but you don't care if you have to face Tampa, right? And I think the last 4 or 5 years, nobody wanted to play Tampa in the playoffs. This is the year where I look at them. I'm like, well, if they get in, I'm not really that worried that much anymore.
Right.
And for me, my wish is better 5-on-5 play. You look at some of the analytics here, and really Tampa Bay, and I don't know if it has to do with Vasilevsky being injured or just the poor defense they've been having as a team, but they are 5th worst as far as goal differential is concerned in 5-on-5 play at a -11, and they are only sitting in front of teams like Chicago, Anaheim, and San Jose, who we expected to be at the bottom of the league.
Not a place you want to be sitting. Not a place you want to be
exactly.
sitting. Anyway, you know what could make the rest of the season really interesting? The Lightning right now, they sit 4th in the Metro. They're really they're 4th, but shoot, the Wings could easily jump them. They jump them with a win. Even Montreal with 2 wins jumps the Lightning. The Lightning are not in a good place. They're teetering on the edge of that wild card spot. What are they? They're not even in a wild card spot. They're behind the Capitals and the Hurricanes. So their only hope. Man, they're just in a bad spot. It seems like they may not even make the playoffs. Certainly, all hope is not lost at this stage. But what if Steven Stamkos, whom they have not signed, and has said, "Why are you guys not signing me?" And then that just kind of went away. Nobody talked about it again. But nothing was ever said to the contrary. Oh no, we're definitely trying to sign him. Nobody's talked about it. What if Steven Stamkos is on the trading block come trade deadline? The Lightning decide we are not gonna keep you, and they tell him. I know he has a no move clause, but they tell him, hey, we are gonna move on from you. We're not gonna re-sign you. I don't know that there's a world that happens, but how crazy would that be, and how fun?
Listen, I just read a thing by Blue Shirts Forever. It's a blog for the New York Ranger fan base. Their top trade target this deadline is Steven Stamkos, and I'm sure there's a little reason for that, right? Because Tampa Bay's management came out and said they're not going to look at his contract or his extension until after the season's over with. So if you're Stamkos, that's got to rub you the wrong way, being the captain, the face of this franchise for so many years. And man,
UFA at the end of the year. I mean, other side of it to me is, what if he becomes a UFA? Let's say William Nylander decides, I'm going to go and chase my big money. I'm going to go somewhere else. Does Steven Stamkos come to Toronto?
Oh.
It's another, not that Steven Stamkos is, I would say, I would rather have William Nylander at this stage of the game. But Steven Stamkos, hey, he's won a lot. He knows how to win, that's for sure.
Hey, maybe he takes a 1-year deal. They're gonna have a few bucks. So
he's still more than a point per game player right now. It's not like he's slumping or anything. Well, I don't know. The possibilities there are fascinating. I don't know that Toronto could fit him under the salary cap this year unless it was like, hey, you know what? Screw defense. Here's TJ Brody. You eat half of Stammer, and we'll give you. I don't know what they'd have to give up a lot, I think, to make that deal happen. But that would be fun. Or they just go, hey, here's Tyler Bertuzzi. I don't know. No, Tyler Bertuzzi's been playing better too. But anyways, that would be fun. Sorry, spent way too much time dreaming about Stamkos leaving Tampa. But in reality, he'll probably just sign, and they just want to see how bad they do this year. Maybe that's it. Without Stamkos, they're probably in the bottom third of the Eastern Conference, like maybe bottom quarter of the Eastern Conference, without his 34 points in 30 games. So they'd look pretty bad without him. Let's go to Montreal, and you have what on your wish list for the Montreal Canadiens?
To get a forward to score some goals. Whether that's acquiring a new forward or bringing in someone from, maybe the minors that can score some goals, or maybe somebody stepping up, right?
Maybe growing one in a pot.
Yeah.
That might be where Montreal's at right now to get that type of player.
They might be, because nobody on this team has scored more than 9 goals, and the 5th best goal scorer on this team is Justin Barron, a defenseman.
A defenseman who I would guess that 1/3 of our listeners have never heard of before.
Right. Has never scored more than 4 goals in his life, and he's got 6 this year. So if that tells you how bad the goal scoring is, I don't know what does.
Get going. My wish for the Montreal Canadiens was health. They've got 6 players on the LTIR, and that just sucks. Their guys have just kind of not been able to find that. So some health, and rip Carey Price. They could really use him right now. All right, let's go Buffalo Sabres. I'm just going to say they need to spend some money on a goaltender. Go out and get a real goaltender. I think at this point, all 3 of their goaltenders have minus goals saved above expected. So you can talk all about how the Sabres defense isn't good enough, or their forwards don't play good enough, they don't get back enough. It doesn't matter. Goals saved above expected, it calculates for these crazy scoring chances that you may be giving up and going, well, that's not the goalie's fault. But in this case, all 3 of their goaltenders minus goals saved above expected. And that is what happens when you spend $6 on your goaltending.
$6?
I think you should get in there for them. We should just see what happens.
You should
just try it. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Oh, man. Wouldn't that be something?
What is your wish for the Buffalo Sabres?
Boy, you know what? It's not. I kind of wrote it a little bit incorrectly here, but it's not to fire their head coach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see a new coach.
Yeah.
So not a new coach.
Not a new coach, right? That's what I meant to write. Because they've had 5 coaches in the last 8-9 years. Them and the Oilers. Right, Granato, Kruger, Housley, Bilesma, Ted Nolan. They've had a long list of coaches going in and out of here, and obviously none of them have been over 500. Granato's the closest thing to it at 83 and 88. So you know what? Let's ride this out a little bit longer. He's only been here a couple of years, so give him a chance, see how he does with a little adversity. Don't jump the gun a little bit and fire him like most teams would that are playing this bad with kind of the high expectations they had.
Yeah, and let's get Tage Thompson back, and let's see where we're at. I think this year you're going to have to make some changes in the offseason. I personally, like I said, I think it starts with let's go get a goaltender that we can actually look ourselves in the mirror and say, we took care of our goaltending. What the hell is up with the rest of the team?
There you go.
Let's go spend more than $6. The Ottawa Senators, speaking of goaltending, my wish list is a nice redo on the Jonas Korpisalo contract. Not liking that one right now.
Yeah, I don't think any Senators fans is either. And to me, I had my doubts. I thought, you know what, Cam Talbot was doing. I liked Cam Talbot when he signed with LA, and I thought, you know, why didn't Ottawa give that kind of thing a try? I know you want to try to find some long-term stability, but you know, Forsberg seemed to be playing fairly well. So bring in a veteran guy for a team that's growing and getting a little, you know, trying to bring up some of these younger guys like Forsberg. But yeah, what are you gonna do?
They don't listen to us, do they?
No, that's what they get.
Yeah, they should. I was, you know what? I had the goal save above expected category up, and I wanted to point out here for the Ottawa Senators and Jonas Korpisalo, or Anton Forsberg in particular. It's been quite bad. minus 7.26. For Anton Forsberg, so not looking too great there. And then I was trying to find Korpisalo, and now I can't find Korpisalo. But anyways, it just has not been what I think everybody thought. Maybe it could be good. He had a good little run in LA. He's looked more like what he did in Columbus. Oh, my bad. Korpisalo minus 6.18. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 8th and 10th worst in the NHL for goals saved above expected. Their goaltending has basically been worse than the Buffalo Sabres, who Eric Comrie sandwiches Korpisalo and Forsberg. So it hasn't looked good for either one of those teams. Let's go to the Metro. Tops of the Metro, the New York Rangers. What are you hoping for the Rangers here?
Well, first off, we skipped over my wish for the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did.
It's okay. So I'll make it quick.
I was busy on Hockey Reference.
It's better defense because this team is sitting 7th worst as far as goals against per game. And hopefully Jacques Martin coming in is going to help that. He's been known as a defensive coach. So maybe that improves, maybe not, because they've got a good top three, guys on the defense between Chychrun, Sanderson, and Shabbat. So maybe they can, with a Martin in there, fix that. But
yeah, I wonder if maybe Chychrun is the odd man out. I wonder if Ottawa's looking at this and they go, look, he's got one more year after this at 4.6. Maybe it doesn't happen right now, but I wonder if he's the odd guy out there if they don't try to deal him. All right, let's go New York Rangers. I have their wish is Patrick Kane with a good hip. Can we get a redo Patrick Kane in New York with an actual hip? It was like he just did not have a hip. Well, when he signed with Detroit, I meant to look at this earlier. Did he get any kind of? He has a no trade clause, like just straight no trade. My guess is that he is basically saying, like, I'm signing here. Don't try to trade me at the deadline. I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, and it'll be a situation if Detroit just bottoms out completely and has absolutely no chance, right? Then he has that power to say, this is the only team I want to go to, right?
True.
That's the whole point.
Yep,
so
that is true.
Yeah, because no coach, no GM's basically going to hand out a 31 no team trade clause. So, it's essentially going to be his decision to leave, and maybe the New York Rangers are the team to do it because for me, my wish is to get them a top line right winger, which could be Patty Kane.
Well,
right?
He just hasn't looked like that yet.
Right.
Yet. It's possible that he still has it, but I think it's like they want the Patrick Kane that they thought they were getting or hope that they were getting, but I don't know if you'll actually ever get that again.
Yeah, maybe not, but
he hasn't looked terrible.
No,
is he a top line right winger though? I don't know.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what though, he's better than don't get me wrong, Alex Lafreniere's been looking better this year, but Patty Kane still, at what I've been seeing from him in Detroit, is still better than Blake Wheeler and Lafreniere. So,
Blake Wheeler pops up on my list later. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
All right, Philadelphia. What do you got for Philly?
Just continue the stellar goaltending, right? I mean,
second
we've been waiting
in the Metro. My God,
I love it. I love it because Torts is. I mean, he's got to be just eating this up right now. But
he's got to be back at his house, looking in the mirror, going, "I am the freaking best coach in the NHL."
Third Jack Adams coming my way,
dude. Seriously, yes. If Rick Tocchet doesn't win it in Vancouver.
Well, yeah, that could be some stiff competition. But listen, they're getting great goaltending from Carter Hart, and when he is healthy, and then when he's not, Earson underneath him has looked phenomenal too. So keep that up. That'll get Philly in the playoffs. And I think this league, similar to Detroit, Toronto, those teams being in the playoffs, I think the league is just better for it.
Yeah, Philadelphia, don't trade everyone away. I know they've got some UFAs. There are players that I gotta think that Philadelphia's. Like Danny Briere has kind of come out and said, we're not changing course. This is not going to affect our course. Well, that would likely mean that Sean Walker and or Mark Stahl or Nick Seeler are going to be dealt, especially like Sean Walker's got pretty high value at this stage. He looks ready to go and be on a playoff team right now. Has really emerged as a solid top 4 defenseman for Philadelphia. I think that Tortorella may have other opinions and go, no, we need to sign this guy. I want this guy here over the next 3 years or whatever it is to re-sign him. But the hope would be don't trade everybody away. Yeah, keep going to this rebuild, but like don't go spend picks on bringing anyone in, but just see what happens here. Why not? You've got Carter Hart rolling. Why not? And then maybe like, what if Ryan Ellis comes back for the playoffs? Ryan Ellis, he's not coming back. All right. New York Islanders, they need a goal scorer again. Like once again, here we are. They need a goal scorer. They need somebody that can just break out, score a goal at any point. That is what the Islanders are missing. That's what they thought they were getting in Horvat. Horvat has been good, but that is just not necessarily who Bo Horvat is. And when they're good, they're good. And when they have struggled to score goals, it's very obvious that their offense is just not clicking. And they need that extra goal scorer.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Brock Nelson leading this team with 15 goals right now. I like him, but only as like a secondary middle six scorer, right? You don't want him to be your guy that's leading the team in goals.
No, definitely not. And I mean, it's not that any of the players they have are bad or like don't have a role. It's just I legitimately think that they're missing that goal scorer who they had hoped that they would have in getting Bo Horvat, who's consistently kind of put up that 30 goals, and I think that he's just not that guy. Not that guy that can just go down and I'm going to score a goal. Okay, we need a goal. Bo Horvat, he's going to score us one. That's where someone like Steven Stamkos, he comes available. That's the kind of guy that you got to be out looking for, in my opinion. I mean, it's exactly why William Nylander has been linked to the New York Islanders. Like, if there's one destination for Nylander where his skills are needed, it's probably the island. Like, he could be on a really good team, a playoff team, a team that has amazing goaltending, basically the opposite of Toronto's. And he could walk in, be the guy, score goals, and maybe not even like. You just go, don't worry about playing crazy defense. Just let the rest of us do that. You go score goals. Could be a good fit for him. Maybe, are we hearing anything about Jake Getzel? Because he's a UFA right now, right? He doesn't have a contract extension.
No, he does not. And $6 million, almost. Most of these teams could find a way to fit him in.
That's a goal scorer that I sure would like to have. Another maybe lesser talent, but also a really nice goal scorer, Tyler Toffoli is a UFA, and the New Jersey Devils who currently are not in a playoff spot. What if they're not in a playoff spot come deadline time? Is he somebody that you deal? Because you could recoup a first round pick for him, And would he be a great fit in New York? He's also a big body. Just some ideas. Another player I was thinking of, Vancouver. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Signed from Russia last year. And Kuzmenko.
Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
Andrei Kuzmenko. Things don't seem to be working with Rick Tocchet there, and he's got 6 goals in 29 games, but he had 39 goals last year. I wonder if he's a target for the New York Islanders. Like, the Vancouver Canucks could rid themselves of that cap space, which he's a $5.5 million cap hit. They've done deals before. Could be a good move for the Islanders to bring in somebody who really knows how to score goals. And you just need to insulate him a little bit with good defensive forwards, and they definitely have that. Okay, we've spent a ton of time on the New York Islanders. Not even fair to the rest of the league. Sorry about that. Did you? I don't think I let you.
I didn't know. I was just going to say Barzal and Horvat just keep the chemistry going. That's all I want to say.
Yep. And it's just kind of, again, leaning to that. You just put your best players together and let them do their thing, and then fill in the rest around them. The Carolina Hurricanes, we have the exact same thing. So I'm just going to let you talk because I talked so much about the Islanders.
Yeah, for us, it's just finding a goaltender, right? I mean, we've seen it recently with Antti Raanta getting sent down, and Peter Kochenkov has looked okay, but not good or not great. And this team's going to need better than .895 save percentage and a 2.65 goals against average if they're gonna beat anybody. I mean,
15.22 goals saved above expected. That is behind. That is dead last in the league. He's only played 14 games. It's terrible. In 14 games, he has really bad starts. He leads the league in really bad starts with 5. He's tied with a couple guys, but they've had much better luck in other games. Oh, no, sorry, Stuart Skinner, 6 really bad starts. But out of 14 starts, only 4 of them have been quality starts. That's really
no good.
That's really terrible. Just in case you're counting at home, that's really terrible. Yeah, they need a goalie. They need somebody. Antti Raanta he was put on waivers and sent down. And Carolina, they need Frederik Andersen to just get healthy and everything should be okay.
Yeah, Aaron Dell
then he'll get hurt again. Then he'll get hurt again, though. That's what Frederik Andersen does. He just like goes into the back and saws off parts of his leg so that he doesn't have to play. The Washington Capitals, what do you have?
I've got a center who can dish the puck to Ovi because he has gone now, I believe, 14 or 15 games without a goal.
It's depressing.
Yeah, it's sad to see when Ovi's not scoring. I mean, he may be one of the best, goal scorers of all time, or the best, depending on your opinion. I will still go with Mike Bossy, but regardless, listen, Dylan Strome has looked great for this team, but he's scoring goals right now. That's what that's his forte, right? And so, they got to find somebody else to dish the puck to this guy because, don't get me wrong, Ovi is still a great goal scorer, but he's not the same Ovi before to create that offense as much. He needs somebody to help him, help him set it up and so he can finish, basically.
100%. I actually have kind of the opposite. I think they need to focus on their team over Ovechkin. Just focus on building the team and let Ovechkin just be himself. And I think that's been some of the problem the last few years is everybody's like, well, how do we cater to Ovechkin? Just don't. Just build a good team around him and just let him be Ovechkin. And they sort of look like that was happening earlier in the year. They are still in a playoff spot right now, though. And they've got 3 games in hand on the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Islanders. They could be in that 3rd spot in the Atlantic Division when all is said and done. So I think they just need to kind of keep doing what they're doing and just go, we just need to win. And leave the rest up to Ovechkin. Ovechkin's going to figure this out. New Jersey Devils. I can't believe they're this far down in this division right now.
Yeah. Oof. That's what happens when Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier miss a lot of time.
All right. Yeah, what are you going to do? But they're still in a position to jump back into it. They've got a couple of games in hand on the Hurricanes. If they win both those games, they're in the playoffs. So What do you got for the Devils?
Timo Meier needs to step it up. I think their wish list is that he produces like the $8 million player he is, or something close to it. Because let's face it,
that'd be nice.
Going into the season, we were looking at this top 6, top 9, whatever you want to call it.
Drooling over the top 6.
Absolutely. Now Timo Meier just relegated down to the third line. Eric Haula playing top left wing minutes now with Jack Hughes, which shouldn't be the case, but it is now. And so, boy, oh boy, I mean,
it's funny that the Devils, though, this is what blows my mind. They go, okay, let's trade for this guy. Okay, he gets 14 points in 21 games. All right, then he gets 4 points in 11 games, and then we're mad at him for getting 11 points in 23 games, which is almost the same points percentage as he had in the playoffs. So, but it's more that minus 17 is eye-opening when you go, holy smokes. Like, then you go, well, the Devils, which my wish for them is that they need to just admit the Schmid-Vanacek thing is a failure, and they need to go out and get a goalie, i.e. just go trade for John Gibson and make us all happy. John Gibson needs to be traded. It should finally happen. Trade him to the Devils, and let's frickin' go.
Oh, boy. Okay, that'd be something.
They need a goalie.
Then we'd be done.
They need a goalie.
It'd be great because then every year it seems like we've got new John Gibson rumors for like the last 3 years. So it'd be great that would finally end.
Exactly. Yeah, let it end for at least like a year. Yeah, I mean, you've got both their goalies minus goals saved above expected. Schmid's been okay, minus 2.66, not the best, but Vanacek's been terrible. Vanacek's fourth last in the NHL, minus 9.86 in just 19 games. So been pretty bad. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Penguins. What do you have?
Yeah, an improved power play. I think over the last couple games, it's been clicking a little bit more, right? I think they've scored like 4 or 5 power play goals, but prior to that, they were 0 for, I think it was 34 last time I looked.
It blows my mind because you bring in Erik Karlsson, you think you're going to have a better power play.
Right.
On top
absolutely.
of what they already have.
Yep.
I just saw somebody in a fantasy hockey league, in one of my leagues, I got a notification and it said so-and-so has dropped Evgeny Malkin.
I'm sorry, what?
I was like, how are we doing this? Why are we I mean, he's 26 points in 30 games. It's not like he's bad or anything. There's only 8 teams in this league, but still. Dropping Evgeny Malkin is crazy. I immediately put in a waiver pickup. So,
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Let's. Mine is give back Erik Karlsson. This isn't working. Give him back. Can we just get a little bit of a redo on that trade? Kyle Dubas should be fired. Fired? Okay. The Columbus Blue Jackets. I think it's from my perspective. It's time. Let's call it a day on this upper management. Kekalainen. It's just not. It's not working for me anymore. You've had your chance to prove something. You've had 10 years or however long it's been, about 10 years, I think, of him being the general manager. And yes, it has been 10 years, 10 months, 8 days. So almost 11 years, February 2013. And I think it's John Davidson is the president. I think it's just time we wash our hands of all this and bring in some new upper management, restructure the whole thing, because none of this is working.
Boy, I bet you they wish they never had fired John Tortorella.
Well, yeah. I'll bet you they wish they had never hired Mike Babcock, too. It's just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, and I don't know how... I don't think that Kekalainen is... In 2013, he was a great talent evaluator. And yes, they've drafted some good players, but they've drafted a lot of middling players. Like, hey, all these guys can fill out your lineup, but they really haven't brought in anybody or drafted anybody where you go, holy smokes, look at this guy, he's a franchise guy, and the world has lit on fire because of him. There just has not been that guy. I know that they've got Ken Johnson and Adam Fantilli, and those are more recent, but it just doesn't seem like they've been able to really blow up. Like, and you can talk all you want about how good they are, but when your team isn't good, then that means those players aren't that good either.
No, and I think this is a case where you clearly look at it and say guys like Cole Sillinger, Ken Johnson, Fantilli, they should have been still sent down to wherever juniors, college, and right.
And that's on the GM. That's on the GM.
It is, absolutely.
I guess I will eat a little bit of crow They did draft Zach Werenski, and he's a very good player. But that's about it. Like, as far as guys who have made a big impact, who you go, oh, he's like tops in the league. Maybe at one point you would have said, yeah, he's tops in the league. And even now, he's still a very good player. But I digress. The Columbus Blue Jackets need to fire everybody. Call it good. Let's go to the Central. Dallas Stars.
You keep skipping over me, don't you?
Oh, son of a bitch. Well, shoot. I see. This is why I let you start. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't change the order.
I'm a terrible host.
Listen, for me, I'll keep it simple. I just need more from Gaudreau and Line if I'm the Columbus Blue Jacket fan base. These guys, I mean, Line for one thing just can't stay healthy this year.
100%.
But these guys they have to be better. They were brought in to basically carry the team, and they haven't done that.
Yeah, and in fairness to management, Johnny Gaudreau says, hey, I just had a 100-point season. I would like to sign there, and I'll sign cheaper than anywhere else. And you go, okay, oh, sure. And
right.
then he just starts to play like garbage. I mean, that's not necessarily your fault, although we just don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But maybe that, he's not motivated by money anymore, and there needs to be some different motivation. And that motivation has not been there in Columbus. All right, to the Dallas Stars. I'll start. Don't worry, I won't forget about you. I say continued health, because they are like second to last in the league. Only better is St. Louis to man games lost to injury. They've only lost 12 man games to injury this year.
Wow. Yeah, if you're going to compete for a top spot in the West, I mean, especially in the Central Division, health is going to be key, right? You want guys to, and bringing a guy like Matthew Duchene has looked great, and if he goes down right, it throws everything in a whack. You have to move up guys, change lines, and you can't develop that chemistry, especially with guys like Duchene, who are just starting to get acclimated and starting to find their role in this team. So don't screw that up as far as I'm concerned.
100%. All right, what do you have for the Stars?
Yeah, health is going to go a long way towards my wish, and the wish for the Dallas Stars fans is that the Dallas Stars finish number one in this division, because Colorado, I do not want to have to play them in the first round.
No. Or Winnipeg.
Winnipeg is looking more scary since they got rid of PLD. Their defense is clicking. They're doing it without Connor, without Hellebuyck stealing games for them, and without Kyle Connor right now. So come playoff time, if you have to play Winnipeg, in that 2-3 spot, I don't know. It's somebody really, really good is going to lose out. So if I'm Dallas, I want to finish number one, because these wild card teams too are not looking super scary.
Yep, Jets are playing like Bonus wants them to. We'll get to the Jets in a second. The Colorado Avalanche, what do you have for them?
Yeah, I want someone to take a hold of this number 2 center spot, right? You've got, Colton and Ryan Johansson in there. One of these guys they don't really seem to want it. I'm waiting for one of these guys to excel and really take the reins. And, to me, when it comes to Colorado and Dallas, right, two of the teams that I positioned at the top of this division at the beginning of the season, to me, it was who's going to play better, Duchene in Dallas or Johansson in Colorado, and whichever guy was better I thought was going to win the division. And right now it's Duchene.
Is Colorado and Nazem Kadri kicking themselves going, why didn't I just re-sign in Colorado for like $7 million? I feel like they could have done it.
Does.
I feel like they could have done it, because he was a great fit there in Colorado, and it's just not going as well as it should be in Calgary. So that would be, hey, go back and be able to redo that trade. That would be, or that deal. That'd be nice. Mine for Colorado is Samuel Girard to return and make an impact. I know he's on the player help program for whatever it is, whatever substance is going on that he's addicted to, but hopefully he can come back this season and is healthy mentally, physically, and can make an impact, because he's a very important person in that defense core. Winnipeg Jets, what do you have?
Yeah, Gabe Vilardi to continue just filling in for Kyle Connor while he's gone.
Well, he needs to just play the LA Kings every game. Right. Be pissed at them.
Clearly, and I don't blame him either. Because when that trade was made, right, you looked at LA and they were looking like a Stanley Cup contender, and Winnipeg looked like they were going the other way. And now Winnipeg is just, we'll show you kind of thing. So, Vilardi has looked great, 13 points in 13 games so far, and he looks like he hasn't missed a beat since coming back from injury. 6 goals already in 13 games. So, for a guy who already had 17 goals on this team, to go out long term, that's a huge hole to fill. But I think Vilardi's doing a great job, and Winnipeg fans will just hope he continues.
And they their wish list is their wish is never say that BW guy's name again. That old captain of ours who's long gone. Yes, you did indeed poison the locker room, and with you gone, along with maybe a few others, things seem to be stabilized in that locker room. And I think, between Blake Wheeler, I don't know how much Pierre-Luc Dubois had to do with that locker room too. He wasn't there that long, but Blake Wheeler, I think you poisoned the water, and it's good to have him gone from the Winnipeg Jets. No more drama. Nashville Predators, someone please take Tyson Barrie.
Oh,
get him out of here. He wants to be traded. They want to trade him. Make it happen.
I think they will. Yeah.
Yep. What do you have?
Absolutely. It's just for more respect, right? I think we looked at this team, and when you looked at a top line of Gus Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly, you probably thought, okay, I feel sorry for Philip Forsberg, got to play with these guys. Like, no disrespect to either of them. I thought they're great middle six guys, but did I think they were top line talent still? No, but they are proving me wrong. And I'm glad because I've got Ryan O'Reilly in fantasy, and he is killing it for me.
He's killing it.
Which has been great.
He would look good in a Leafs jersey right now.
Oh, would he ever?
Pissed
and
at
they're
him.
doing this.
Pissed at him.
They're doing this without UC Saros being stellar too. So, man, if he catches fire, and he's starting to get that way a little bit, but man, if they just get a little bit more respect, teams might wish they had given them more respect come playoff time if Nashville gets in.
Oh well, I am. I'm impressed that they're in the playoffs. Like, they're in a spot right now. I think it's more to do with the fact that there are a lot of teams in the West that are bad. I
think so.
But hey, you might just squeak in, and if you can squeak in, you never know what happens. I.e., Florida Panthers. Let's go Arizona Coyotes, who are knocking on the door. They are right there. They're on that last wild card spot. Who would have thunk it? What do you wish for the Arizona Coyotes?
Yeah, talk about squeaking in. I think Arizona might just squeak in the playoffs, and the NHL is going to have wished that they had wished for this earlier, and that's a brand new arena.
So true.
For Arizona, because if you go into the playoffs and you have to show a 5,000 seater for, the stage that they'll be in, they're going to be kicking themselves.
Yeah, I just have their wish list as an extra seat. That's it. Just give us one more seat. Pack them in there. St. Louis Blues. I've got another upper management that needs to just go bye-bye. Just Doug Armstrong. Just call it good. Just call it good. When he got up and spoke after they fired Craig Berube, it told me everything I need to know. That he has no freaking idea what he's doing. He basically admitted, maybe that we don't have the right mix of guys. We don't have the right mix. But maybe if all we have to do is just get in and we can do damage, but we don't have the right mix. He just doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's just hoping. He put this team together and he's hoping it works. And the defense is freaking terrible. He was an idiot with Alex Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo's wife is from St. Louis and wanted to stay, and they poo-pooed him on, what was it? Maybe it was the no trade clause. They didn't want to give him a no trade because he was older. Yeah, it
was that, and I think an extra $750,000. $750,000.
Yeah, and yet they freaking give Torrey Krug and Justin Falk no trade clauses. Like, they have Marco Scandella with a no trade clause. Jeez, it's just dumb. They won the cup. I'm gonna say it. They're probably like the most dumb luck out of any team that's won the cup in the last 20 years. They're probably the worst team to win the cup, and they won the cup because Doug Armstrong didn't believe in them, and there were rumors of almost everybody getting traded at that point. He just happened to not trade guys. They started doing better, and then he just took his hands off the wheel, and then they won the cup. And they won the cup because of Craig Berube, not because absolutely. Of Doug Armstrong. So, sure, he has a cup. He built the team. He's been there for a long time. It's fine. He was a decent general manager. He's been there for as long as Jarmo Kekalainen has been in terms of being the president of Hockey Ops. I guess he's been the GM for 13 years. It's just time to move on. He just doesn't He's not building a team for the modern day NHL, and the St. Louis Blues deserve better. They've got a good amount of talent, and he could move up, like stay the president of hockey ops, but bring in a general manager with some vision. I think that's what they need to do. If they don't fire him, there you go. They don't fire him. All right. Did we get to yours? What do you? Oh,
no, we did not.
Didn't. See, at least I was thoughtful this time.
I appreciate it, and really for me, it's a happier Jordan Kyrou, right? That's the wish for St. Louis fans this year.
Sweet Jordan.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe firing Craig Berube was the turning point to make him happy. I don't know. There was some rumors about them, having a rift, and Jordan Kyrou will deny till the day he dies, I'm sure. But regardless, this team is only going to go as far as Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou take them. So you know what? If Jordan Kyrou's happy now and he's putting up points, they've got a glimmer of hope. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep, absolutely. Minnesota, what do you have for them?
Oh, I just think they just hope that John Hines continues to just run this team just up the standings because, man, they've looked really, really good since he's come in, and I think they're hoping that the good fortunes do not stop because, boy, this was a team I pegged to be in the top three of this Central Division, and they certainly could. I mean, again, when you look at the teams in front of them, right, they've got Seattle, Calgary, and St. Louis to get into the playoffs or have a shot, and those are teams that I think are easily hoppable. So Minnesota, just keep it up. And Matt Boldy now has been unlocked. Now his superpowers are unlocked, and the guy looks unreal.
Well, yeah, because what John Hines does is he activates these guys. He lets them go in the offensive zone, forechecks, and they try to put pressure on other teams. They're using the players that have speed, like Boldy, who can go and take advantage of that. And that's really what he did as the New Jersey Devils coach and as the Nashville Predators coach, is that he activated these forwards who can do damage in and along the boards, pressure defensemen, and create turnovers. And it's working for Minnesota. I just have they just need maybe bring in a new coach for faceoffs in particular. 44.9%, worse than the NHL. I know faceoffs aren't everything, but that's bad. Chicago Blackhawks. I think we have the same thing, but I want to hear what yours means.
Yeah, I literally just wrote down Bedard on my list.
So like they already got their gift? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, maybe, but it's probably not what you think. But for me, I just want a veteran line mate to play with him, right? Yeah. I like that Taylor Hall that they were expecting him to have because, listen, I know a lot of young guys come in, they have a stellar first year, and then they have that sophomore slump, and that's when you really need to make sure you have the right talent around them to keep them from doing that and to keep the trajectory going up. Now, I don't think that's going to happen with a guy like Connor Bedard, but I would like to see Taylor Hall stay healthy all year, whether that's next year or whenever, because I think this guy, his ceiling is so freaking high that I think, if they can continue his development in the right direction, because Chicago's probably going to be bad for a few more years. Losing it can definitely hurt, somebody's development. So if they just put the right pieces around him, I think he's just going to freaking excel like no one's business.
Perfect. I have Chicago, another Bedard.
Another Bedard.
We need two of them. That's what we need for Christmas. So basically another first overall pick. Let's go Pacific Division. Vegas is at the top. What do you have?
I've got health, man. Yep. They've got to stay healthy.
Same. Ding, ding. That's the one.
Ding, ding. I love it. Yeah, because
number two in man games lost to injury, over 100, almost 150 man games lost so far.
Wow, yeah. See, I didn't even look at it from that perspective. I just looked at it more the fact that when Mark Stone's on this team, when he's healthy, when Pietrangelo's back there, everybody's in their right spot. They are just we saw it last year in the finals, right? They were just unbeatable. A team like Florida that rolled over everybody. Vegas came in and just gave them a thrashing. And so, to me, I think the league is better off when Vegas is healthy and rolling at 100%.
All right. The Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, I want to see Besser keep doing Besser things because the last couple of years, right, they've been expecting Besser to be this 30, 40 goal scorer, and he just never really got there. And now all of a sudden he's killing it, right? And it's like, oh, you know what? You were looking to trade me the last couple of years. No one would take my contract, and now I bet you everybody wishes they had jumped on the Brock Besser train because he's looking just like he's going to hit 50 goals in no time.
Yeah, seriously, he's looking like he's going to hit 60.
Yeah, his pace is unreal. So he's easily going to surpass his career highs in almost everything. So It's been great to see. I'm glad to see him finally develop. It'll be nice, and I think it worked out well because he's not even playing on a line with Elias Pettersson either, so that's even better. For
and it's opening up opportunities for him to play against lesser talent, and that's a good thing sometimes. The Vancouver Canucks, strong team, second in the Pacific. They're rolling. Their goaltending's going well. They're getting help from their defense finally, and their top forward lines are killing it. They have a very poor penalty kill. I think they're in the bottom fourth of the NHL in penalty killing. Below 76%. That's rough, and I think they maybe that's what they need to target is somebody that can kill penalties, which shouldn't be super expensive, but could be very valuable come playoff time. So find some PK help, Vancouver, and let's go to the LA Kings. Who do you have?
Yeah, I think that probably they wish they could undo this PLD Pierre-Luc Dubois trade.
Ooh, you think so?
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, he's not looked that great, in my opinion. I think he's looked mediocre at best. And when you look at what Gabe Vilardi's doing on the other end, Alex Iafallo has looked great as well. To me, that's just it's a little worrisome, right? Because Anze Kopitar, he's still going to be Anze Kopitar for the next couple of years. I think he's still going to be stellar. And Philip Deneau just looks phenomenal in that second line spot still. Just a great killer of team's top offensive line. So Pierre-Luc Dubois got to step up at some point, and only 12 points in 29 games right now.
Playing on the third line too. So you'd hope that maybe he's not putting up tons of points, but his points per 60 should be higher because he's not playing against great competition. And
one power
his line
play point.
Right, and his line mate, you look at Kaliev, he's still producing almost a point per game. Kaliev. No, sorry, I'm looking at Adrian Kempe. I thought I was looking at
but still, Kaliev. He's one of two players in this whole entire team that's a negative plus minus. He's 48% in the faceoff dot, 15 minutes, one power play point. Just those numbers are not good enough for me.
Got to be better, but I'll give him some benefit of the doubt. 30 games into a brand new team, brand new system with a lot of better centers ahead of them. So it's finding your spot in the lineup. So we'll see what that looks like, 30 games from now. The Calgary Flames, let's trade Tanev, let's trade Lindholm, let's call it good here, let's move on, and let's actually look towards the future. Let's do these deals sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm ding with you on that one. Because I think
they're coming.
I agree. I think there's moves coming, and for me, the wish list is just getting good returns for these guys, right? You don't want to have a situation. I mean, don't get me wrong. They got a good return for, what happened with Matthew Tkachuk. In hindsight, maybe it's not as good as you think now. But at the time, it was looked as a great return. And so hopefully, the new management in there, Craig Conroy can work the same type of magic with these guys and get some good pieces back.
Perfect. The Seattle Kraken, what do you have?
Yeah, just finding that depth scoring. I think that's been the one thing that's been eating them this season, and where the difference was last year, right? They had a guy like Daniel Sprong on the fourth line playing with Brandon Tanev, and it clicked. They were just scoring goals left and right, and that's what good teams do is they get depth scoring out of their third and fourth line, and Seattle just didn't have it this year or hasn't had it this year, and so you went and saw them move a fifth-round pick to bring in a guy like Thomas Tatar who just wasn't working out in Colorado, and so now he finds some time to get on that top line, and maybe that shuffles things up a little bit and gives
puts
other
guys in the right spot. Yeah,
right. So we'll see what happens in the long term there. But in the meantime, if they want any shot at making the playoffs, they need some depth scoring. And
they need a new evaluator of goalie talent because my God, their goalies are bad. Philip Grubauer, a minus 8.36 goals saved above expected in just 17 games. That is good for 6th worst in the NHL. They just cannot seem to find any consistency from the goaltending position. Even when Martin Jones was playing decent last year, he really wasn't playing that decent. It just he still ended up with an 8.8 save percentage. It's not like that's anything to write home about. Joey Decord has looked pretty good for them, but still, Joey Decord cannot be the answer long term. Sorry. And
no.
I think they need to figure out something with the goaltending. The Edmonton Oilers, they need to find somebody to make a save because, we keep talking about goaltending and they are probably the worst defender. Stuart Skinner, a -10 goals saved above expected, and then Jack Skinner at a -4.87, but that's in only 5 games.
No.
Been absolutely terrible in 26 games that those two have played for them. That's a -15, more than -15 goals saved above expected. So, or I guess goals saved below expected. So that's a bad place to be. They still need to figure out their goaltending.
Yeah, and that'll go a long way with my wish is just closing the gap, right, and finding more points in the standings.
Yep.
And they before these last 3 losses, they'd won 8 in a row, so they started to make some headway, right? You think, oh gosh, you're going to win 8 in a row, you're going to close that gap, you're going to get close to a wild card spot where everybody thought Edmonton was going to be making the playoffs this year, and maybe they still do, but really they're at the time they were still 7+ points out of a playoff spot, and really it only made about 2 points worth of headway with an 8-game win streak. So.
Yep. And they're still 7 games out of a playoff spot, or 7 points out of a playoff spot. Yes, they have 2 games in hand, but you got to win those 2 games.
Right, exactly. They keep this up. It's not going to look good in the long run.
Yep. Anaheim. We both have Trevor Zegras on our wish list. What do you hope for Trevor Zegras?
Yeah, for me, it's just return to form, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's similar to what you wrote down.
Yep.
I want to see this guy play like he did last year.
All right, that'll help. And I think my other one is trade John Gibson. Let's just call it good here. The San Jose Sharks, the last team on our list, they are number 1 in the NHL with man games lost to injury, 149 man games. I know Logan Couture has not played at all, so that plays into it. But they haven't been able to stay healthy. They're last place in the league. I don't know how much it would help. This is still a rough team, but bring Logan Couture back, get reasonably healthy, and at least be able to have that allow you to make some moves. And I think that kind of plays into what your wish list is.
Yeah, right. Making moves. For me, it's just unloading the Vlasic and Couture contracts, and maybe you can throw Tomas Hertl in there as well, even though I don't think his contract is very movable at all right now, especially considering he has a no-move clause.
Yeah, and the length of it is just, you're not eating any of that salary or anything like that.
Yeah, but Couture, I mean, he's still got 3 seasons after this year at $8 million, and he's still a serviceable center. I still think he can be a second-line guy. Maybe like a team like Colorado would love to have him in there. Maybe say at $5.5 million if they could get him and get.
Yeah, but still for another 3 years, you're talking about a 38-year-old Logan Couture.
Yeah, but after this season, right, that $5.5 million cap, it doesn't seem to look so bad anymore. Not necessarily that they want to keep that kind of money around for long term, but it's a lot more palatable with the cap going up the way it's projected to go up over the next couple seasons. So for me, I think Logan Couture still has some game left in him. Is he a point per game guy? No, but he could be a 50, 60 point guy still on a good team. So, maybe he finds a spot at some point in the off season. Maybe they find a way to move him. But for me, if this team's going to reload, they're going to reset. They need to unload these contracts.
Let's be honest. Their number 1 wish is Macklin Celebrini.
I guess so, yeah.
He's San Jose local guy, going to be the top pick. What better place for him to be than the San Jose Sharks? Genius time to start your total all-out tanking. All right, that is our Christmas wish list for the NHL here as we close out 2023, maybe one more show before the end of the year, but we thank you for listening. Justin, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year if we don't end up talking before then, and to our listeners the same. Any last thoughts, Justin?
Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, all those things.
Go through the list, you HR monkey.
Yeah, no, I just, you know what? The trade freeze is going on right now, so I'm excited when it gets lifted and we start to see some moves hopefully here soon. Because again, like we talked about, just I'd love to see a big move here pretty soon.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. Enjoy your holidays and we will talk to you guys soon. Find us on Twitter at OT Hockey Talk. Peace out.